Lightworkers Unite is a podcast and social show hosted by intuitive women, lightworkers, and most importantly, friends, Mayum and Manjeet. Welcome to our podcast, Lightworkers Unite, where we believe there is a lightworker within all of us.
Whether you are a medium, an educator, or a nuclear medicine technologist, there is a lightworker within you, and we have work to do.
This is a safe and sacred place where lightworkers connect, grow, and learn.
And share our light with the world. Well, hello, Miss Mayum. Hi.
Hi, Angie.
How are you?
Guess what this week is?
What?
It's Halloween week. My favorite. My favorite.
You
Halloween
love
week.
Halloween. It's kind of your thing.
So
Did you
much.
decorate your house and everything? Have you gotten that
No,
far?
not yet.
Okay.
I haven't been home. So I just got back into town, and of course it's a crazy week. I was talking to the girls, I'm like, when are we going to do it, girls? I need your help because we're the spider house. So I'm thinking I might just do it, like Saturday morning, have it up, and then take it down Monday morning or something.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Normally we have it up the whole month, but I don't have little kids anymore.
I know.
They don't care.
It's not, yeah, they don't care. They're just kind of doing their thing and they're happy. Just, they're not even trick or treating anymore. Like, right?
No.
I mean,
No, last year was the last year during the pandemic.
yeah.
Yeah, I had even my 17-year-old, well, she was 16 at the time. She went with some friends and to collect candy.
Oh, I know. I love it. Well, what should we talk about today? I mean, it's Halloween week. Are you, we've got
Our topic is, you know what our topic is, don't you?
yes, it's perfect for Halloween week. Fear.
I know. Yes. Fear.
Fear.
And then on all its elements of fear, So I thought we could share some spooky stories of fear. I wanted to share the fear that I had on my flight home from San Francisco.
Yes, tell
and then
us.
Also, I wanted to share something that Colette Baron Reed always refers to with fear being like an acronym is I just lost it. Now I got to look
Oh
it up.
no, I hate it when that
No,
happens.
it was just, I hate that because I had it. I took notes. It is, okay, here we go. False evidence appearing as real. And I don't know why. I just think that's so interesting. False, because again, what are we getting worked up about? What is it? So false evidence appearing as real. Not to say that shit isn't real. That scares the shit out of us.
Yeah.
But I just thought it's a nice way to get a handle on fear. If we're scared about something that hasn't happened, let's say it's about our bodies or fear of the unknown, kind of that is false evidence. Nothing's really, we don't have evidence, and yet we're making it real. Our body and our mind is making it real, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's a lot like disasterbation, right? The whole concept of you just getting ahead of yourself and creating fear so that you're actually going into action paralysis. So you're unable to really get to where you need to go. But I mean, going back, that fear response in our brain, it's triggered, it was triggered and it started, I think, in humans and in our brain to save us, right? It was like a trigger, the fear triggers a response in us to run, or freeze or fight, right? So there's 3 different ways that our brain is going to respond to that. So sometimes just knowing what one you are, and it changes with each situation, it's like when you're in fear mode, right?
Right. Yeah. When you're in fear mode.
Yeah. What happens? But I just think that's really interesting because you're right. It is from a historical place, that fear, it really did save us. Like, oh, there's a fucking mountain lion right there. Like, I'm going to run. I'm going to run. I'm out. So it's kind of interesting that when you kind of, I think, reframing it in a way that, it was actually meant to as a protection. But then once you acknowledge what that fear looks like to you, then you can make some decisions around, okay, is this fear paralyzing me? Is it really crippling me from moving forward, or is it really
Mhm.
saving me? Is this really a good thing that I'm being cautious? Or, I see this a lot in
Right.
coaching. So
I
yeah,
bet
I
you
just
do.
think it's
Yeah, different kinds of
fascinating.
fear in everyday life. Right. Not that we're putting ourselves in, scary situations, but sometimes life
Mm.
just shows up and yeah, I think about how fear resides in all of us probably daily, little tidbits of fear. I would love to I don't want to be in fear. I don't like to be in fear. And there was a time after my dad was murdered that I was a little fearful of just
Hmm.
your mindset kind of goes there like, oh my gosh, how could someone, the fear of someone hurting me or hurting my loved ones. If
Yeah.
if I had a fear of anything, that would be my fear is
Mm.
someone else hurting my loved ones or myself.
Yeah.
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 Like
Well, and
I
that
don't have
was
a
even
fear
in
of
your
crashing. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say that was even in your one of your dreams. So if you haven't heard the dream episode, Neo
Oh,
shares a
gross.
dream that is really fucking freaky.
I
And it
hate
has to
that dream
do with
so
I know, but it was so
much.
fear, right? Rich in fear. So if you haven't heard that episode, you really got to check it out because
Yeah.
the way your brain kind of manifests and morphs our fear and how it shows up in our dreams is, I think, also pretty freaky. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I've been watching this really scary show because it's Halloween and I've had the worst nightmares.
No way. Oh
But
my
I
God,
can't
girl, why
stop
are you doing
watching
that
it.
to yourself?
Yeah, I know, I love it though. It's such a good show.
Well,
So
what
I'm kind
is
of
it?
like,
I like some stuff, but like, what is it? Will I like
it's
it? Would I
called,
like? If you like it, I probably would love it too.
I think so. We're kind of similar, but I also like, I honor like you've got a different, like there's a threshold with certain kinds of violence and fear and
Yeah.
gore that um and it's called Chapel Wait, and it's based on a Salem's Lot, Stephen King book,
Oh
short
boy.
story, and it has my boyfriend Adrian Brody in it, who I've always been
Yes,
in
you
love
love
with.
him.
I
Do you?
know, I've always
Oh,
loved him.
that's sweet.
But it's I don't know if it's just the way it's and this is kind of like fear, right? It's the way it's filmed, the lighting in it.
Yeah,
There's like some of the way
music.
the shadows and for some reason it feels it's like I think it's in the 1800s. I could be wrong, but it's old. Like it's that old, pilgrim
Yeah.
type vibe, which is already fucking creepy as fuck.
I,
Sorry. But I don't know, it's something about the way it's filmed and that just really like sits with me. It makes me feel fear. Like I feel it in my bones. It's
yeah.
really a weird series to me. I don't know. I mean, do you have a show like that that's like just imprinted in you? Like you just go, whoa, that is not okay.
Intense or
Yeah.
not okay. Well, I'm sure I can't think of one now. Well, like Stranger Things, right? That
Oh
was
yeah.
awesome and kind
Yeah.
of scary a little bit,
Very cool.
but very cool. And I love most of that shit. So you don't. That's so funny. You should ask this right now because I can handle some of that, and unless it's too gory. I don't really
Yeah.
like stabbing and chopping and blood. It's
Yes.
just
Right.
too. Blah. But I was on the airplane from San Francisco Sunday, and I was tuning into Alaska's entertainment, and I just wanted something kind of easy, not a big long movie. And so I went into Grey's Anatomy, which is an
Yeah.
old favorite of mine that I used to watch all the time. And so I just randomly picked one. Talk about that imprint and feeling gross and scared.
Oh no.
It was obviously a newer one because they were wearing masks. They were talking about pandemic and they were having a march in Seattle,
Oh.
protesters. And one of the doctors, her boyfriend, who is African American, was driving home from a road trip and he was almost home and he gets pulled over by two officers, policemen, and he hasn't done anything. So it's obviously relevant to the
Mhm.
time of what was going on in our world.
Sure. Yeah.
And Manjeet, I was scared for him. And he
Oh
was like, stay on the
wow.
phone, just stay. And she was on the phone with him. Keep me on. Record this. They were freaking out because it starts
Yeah.
off, well, officer, I wasn't going over the speed limit. Can you tell me why you pulled me over? And the officer is not kind. And he's like, you need to turn off your phone. Who you're talking to, you need to cut, and he's like, why? It's my wife. She's just worried about me. And he's like, nope. So he has to hang up, and now she's frantically trying to find out. Manjeet, that
Oh
little
my
scene
God. Wow.
had me so worked up in fear for him and anger
Wow.
all mixed up that I shut it
Yes.
off. I don't know how it happened. That's
Oh
how
my
bad
God, Miriam. Oh my God.
I'm
I'm
a wimp.
sorry. So that would have been a flight response to
Yeah.
the fear,
I
right?
was
Like
like, I'm
I'm
out.
out. Yeah.
I
Oh my
was
God.
sweating. I was feeling all
Oh
these like I don't like
no.
this. I didn't like the way it made
Yeah.
me feel, all icky
Yeah.
with fear and anger mixed up. So I was like,
Yeah.
no. I mean, it's like my body said, get out.
Yeah.
Don't.
Get out. Yeah. Well, and in that there's
Yeah.
also like the injustice, right? And that feeling of being helpless.
Yes.
Like, so
It
there's
was
so
that
much more
helpless. Yes.
in
And it
that
was all
scene.
fiction. It's a
Yeah.
complete fiction thing, but
But
I
it's
was immersed in it. Yeah,
based on
it
real shit that's
is.
going on. So that's
It
also
is.
fearful. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like really making me feel weird things.
Mm,
So I was like, it's
mm.
so, yeah. Sometimes I'd rather like walk in a cemetery and have someone go boo, you know?
Says the medium.
Then, right? I know.
I love that so much. I don't know
You're
if there's
like,
a
that was so
person
stupid of me.
on the
I would
planet
never say
that would rather, like, oh my God. Jesus. I know. Says the medium in the room. Yes, let's
You're
bring it
right.
on.
That you're
I
right.
know.
That's probably
I
stupid.
love it
People
though.
are
I
going,
love it.
what the fuck did she just say? She'd rather be in a cemetery.
Oh my
Well,
God. Yeah, you'd be like you'd have like 15 best friends by the time you left the fucking
oh my
cemetery. So
God.
that's just how Megan rules. So that
I'm
would
so
be
sorry. You're right. That's not very realistic, but it's
no,
true.
but
Well, I
it's
just
awesome.
remember my dad always saying to me, as far as being scared of ghosts or spirits or things, he's like, you have to actually fear humans. He said more.
Oh,
He used to
wow.
say that. And it's like, it's a shame. There's more good people than bad people, maybe, but that's who
Mm.
you would, need to watch
Oh,
out for.
amazing that he would say that. And,
I know.
like, and then to
I
have what
know.
happened happen. I just
I
feel
know.
that it's just so amazing. It's like he was warning you, us
Hmm.
all, like just be careful, be smart. Don't, turn your back or don't maybe always expect the best from some folks.
Yeah, and he was always such a positive guy too. So I think that's why, he obviously didn't see it coming. He was trying to help.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but that's so therefore there's so many heroes out there that are fighting for justice or get caught in a place where they're dealing with someone who's not a good
Yeah.
person.
Well, tell us since you're talking about your trip, but tell us what happened. Because you've had a
Okay,
couple scary things happen.
so that was another type of fear that went on. So fear of Grey's Anatomy. Then I was like, ew, gross. And then the flight we hit, there was a storm Sunday, if you didn't know. There's
Hmm.
power outages, my house being one of them.
Oh,
And so we're
yes.
up in the sky coming from San Francisco, who was also having a storm. So
Yes.
we were circling, waiting in line to land, right, to descend. And our pilot never told us that. We were wondering what the hell was going on because for 45 freaking minutes, we are in this
Wow.
terrible turbulence up and down like roller coaster where people are going woo, and I reach for the barf bag, like my eyes are closed,
Wow.
I'm sweaty, I'm clammy, it's coming to the back of my throat,
Oh my
and
God, I
and
hate
I
this.
have my AirPods on because I was watching Grey's Anatomy, but I turned it off, man, and I put on my whole tunes meditation music, like a frequency
Yeah.
to try to calm
Yeah.
me down. I started to do the 5 count breath work just to get my body to calm down because I was going to puke my brains out. So as I'm reaching for the puke bag, John, I can tell, and I can't even open my eyes. Like I have my one eye slit open because I'm trying to just keep my shit in, and I can't talk. And I reach in,
Mm.
and John puts his hand on my leg, like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" And he's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And I can't say a word. Like, I can't open my mouth because puke will fly out of here. So I just,
Oh
and now
my
they
God.
seal the bags with like you have to tear them open. I didn't know this because when was
Oh,
the last time I had to puke on a plane? I fly all the damn time. So I
yeah.
am flipping it up and down and like, what the hell? I finally see it, rip that sucker open, try to get it,
Oh God.
open, and I hold it right near to my mouth and I'm getting ready to pull the mask and and I stop and I just said, okay, just try to breathe because I really do not want to hurl that huge
Mm.
Italian sandwich that I just had, 45 minutes ago. So I am trying not to. And meanwhile, the passenger next to me, she starts to puke in her bag. And I'm
Oh
like, don't look over,
God.
don't look over.
Oh no.
And thank God for the mask that it kind of hides any smell. I didn't smell anything. I was
Yes.
so like, oh shit, if she's puking,
Thank
I'm going to
God.
puke. Thank God. But I held it together.
Sorry, I shouldn't be
And
laughing, but this is so
I
funny.
know. I had the vent on my face and I was sitting up
Oh
trying to get as
yeah,
much
good
air on
call.
me and drips of sweat were coming down my forehead. And God bless John Curley. Every time he touched my leg, it was like this warmth that I was like, "Ugh, get your hand off my like don't touch me."
Oh,
I
you're not
didn't want anyone
helping.
to touch me. That's not helping. And I couldn't speak, so I couldn't say anything and I couldn't move my hands because one was holding the barf bag and one was holding my mask so that I could puke. Anyway, I was scared out of my mind of not crashing, of puking.
Oh my
Meanwhile,
God.
my husband, who flies all the time, is never scared.
Yeah.
He was nervous.
Oh
That's how bad it was.
wow.
Yeah, he started thinking
Interesting.
about, do we have our will in place? Because it's both of us,
Oh wow.
like what's
Oh my
like that
God.
kind of shit.
Yeah, he went right there. He went to like dead. Yeah, that's a
Thank God
it's
he didn't
scary.
tell me that because that would have scared the
Oh.
shit out of me had I known that he was thinking those thoughts.
Yeah, like that fearful. And fear is like that. I mean, it can really
Right?
just like knock you off your game. It can completely just, you know, it just you just lose your whole perspective on what's
Mm.
truthful, what's not. And then you just go into disacerbation and then you're done. You're done. You can't
Right.
get out of that. So what's fascinating to me is because it's and we all have our fears, everybody has fear of something. um I'm really fascinated how you got yourself out of it. So you kind of stopped and then you listened to
I,
music, like you
I
took some
did.
breaths, like I just
I
can you
stopped
tell us?
watching fucking Grey's Anatomy.
Check number
I was
one.
like, that's not helping me. I put on this whole tunes is what it's called, and it's a
Mm,
healing frequency music. And
yeah.
I needed to sit in like vibrational frequency music right then and there in my body. And then I
Wow.
started what I teach in my meditation classes is the five count breath. And it is for these kinds of things. I've never had to use it. I usually do it just to focus and kind
Yeah.
of get centered. But I used it and it worked. And I did it, I breathed deeply and intentionally, like bringing oxygen because I noticed I was holding my breath. So, because I
Oh
didn't want to
yeah.
puke. Yeah.
Mm,
So, I really, for that moment, as I had the bag right up to my face and I'm getting ready to move my mask, I stopped and I said,
yeah.
just try to breathe right now. Just breathe, breathe, breathe. So, I did it
Yeah.
deeply and I did it for a half an hour of five count breath for a freaking half an hour. It felt like because I just kept doing it, and then I kind of stopped to kind of check in with myself, like how am I feeling? It got me so relaxed that I could actually close my eyes and almost get sleepy. So that
Wow.
was the idea,
Oh, I
is to
love it.
not. I was very relaxed. I was still nauseous as hell, but I wasn't
Yeah.
in that fear of puking, fear of the
Hmm.
plane, all that stuff. Yeah.
Can you tell us what the 5 point breath is, or is that
Yeah,
like?
so it's actually something that Dr. Christiane Northrup teaches, and it was in her book, and she's a beautiful spiritual advocate, divine feminine doctor that I love, and I love her books. And she had it was on a podcast, and she taught this, so I teach it to all my meditation, meetups. You breathe in and out of your nose only, and you do it at a five count. And you're going to find the one that works for you. So you're breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you hold your breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale out your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, and then you continue. But everything is only through your nose. You do not breathe out of your mouth at all. That's the idea. You don't
Mm,
want to be the mouth breather. You don't want to actually take in any breath through your mouth, only through the
yeah.
nose. And they're
Awesome.
deep and intentional, and it's a cycle. So inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold. So just over and over.
Yeah. I
And
love
5
that.
seems to work. But on the plane I did like 6 or 7. I wanted to do it a little longer,
Oh,
just to,
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
So you can kind of improvise just from there if you needed to, like
whatever
using,
feels right.
yeah,
Yeah,
like just to kind of get you back into this place of, you know, peace, like perspective. Yeah. I
yeah,
love
and
that.
it gave me focus too, because otherwise my brain is racing and thinking, paying attention to the passenger who just puked, John's
Yeah.
warm hand on my knee, and the plane, doing nose dives. It was like we were going down and then we were going up and we're side
Mhm.
to side. It was like we were on a boat in the sea. It was just
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Oh, I
Yeah,
would hate
not
that.
good.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
hate
I
that.
hated it.
For those that know me, I get very seasick. So I don't
Yeah.
do anything like that. That's what happens when there's turbulence for me is I get that nausea, that feeling, and it fucks up my whole day. Like my whole day
Yeah.
is gone. People don't
Yeah.
understand that kind of discombobulation in your brain and your heart. I can't recover quickly. So
Yeah.
I noticed you
I
had said that
didn't.
too. You were like, I can't, I'm not recovering from this.
No, I was still all
Very,
clammy and sweaty, got home, and then we had no
oh, my
power. So
friend.
I did kind of work, but I did sit. I'm like, I have to sit because I just was
Yeah.
so, like you said, discombobulated. It was just messed up.
Yeah.
Took a
Well,
while to get centered. Anyway,
yeah, I love that because like it's kind of like what when you're in that fear mode, whatever it is that is coming at you, you really kind of stopping and then taking that breath. I know that's like part of my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 year life. That's the first 2 steps. And the breath, the hardest thing for a lot of people, especially really busy folks, is the stopping part. So I think that's a real success that you actually said, okay, I don't like where this is going. I need to change the trajectory of this because I don't want
yeah,
to feel,
I don't want to
it
puke.
was,
I do not want to barf. Yeah.
yeah. So I love that you stop. And then the breathing, you mentioned it earlier. It not just, it doesn't just bring you kind of into your physical body and be kind of giving yourself control, but it really does bring fresh oxygen to your brain and your lungs,
Yes.
so you feel better. You actually start feeling that oxygen kind of
Right.
coming up to your brain because like what you said is when you're in fear mode. I love that you were like, I just stopped breathing. And that's a really important thing to understand when you're in that fear mode. When you're not breathing, you can't think right. You don't,
No.
that you're just not in your powerhouse. So I love that. And you said oxygen, putting the oxygen in your
I
face, like
did because I remember
so
thinking
cool.
about the time I was riding Too Many Roller Coasters with Johnny on our 10th anniversary. And we were at, you know, what do you call it? Six
Oh,
Flags in Los
okay.
Angeles. And we love roller coasters. And this was a million years ago. So we were doing that, and third one in, I was lost my shit. I was like, oh my God, I can't do it. And they had the
Mm.
oxygen bars there, which was so cool.
Yes.
It's kind of like a,
Yeah.
an
Vegas.
espresso bar, but yeah. And they put them in the oxygen in your nose, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, breathing through your mouth. It's everything's in the nose. And I did it. And I tell you, I was like, on fire, so alert, the amount of
Oh,
oxygen. And
wow.
I get to pick my
Yeah.
flavors. And I said, what's good for nausea? And it was like mint and all this other stuff, right? And
Mm.
man, I was so alert. I was like,
Yes.
okay, quiz me, ask me anything.
Quiz me.
Seriously, I like my brain. I am open right now. I can think. It wasn't
That's
foggy. I was
brilliant.
focused. I know. I
Yeah,
was
isn't
like, I
that
felt so
crazy?
alert. Oh, it was
Yeah,
awesome.
it's interesting. I did the same thing, oxygen bar, but it was in Vegas,
No
which,
way.
because but
Oh,
this is
geez.
right. Because it's like, and this was before, I think, when they had like smoking and stuff like in certain areas. So you could slip away. But I feel that way, what you're describing, that kind of alertness, when I do hot yoga, because I'm spending like an
Mm.
hour doing very intentional breathing. And it's so
Yes.
fucking hot that you have to use your nose. And that's, I think,
Yes.
part of why you were saying the breathing part when you breathe through your mouth, you're actually bringing it into your stomach potentially, right? The air. So it's a different mechanism, right? Than your nose. You're going
Yes.
down into your, pharyngeal and all the way into like your lungs kind of area. So the mechanism of air moving into your body is very different, mouth versus nose. So I think
Very.
that's just a really cool observation. But yeah, when I come out of hot yoga, sometimes I'm like, damn, quiz
Feeling
me.
good.
I
Quiz
love
me.
that. That's my favorite. My favorite. Oh my God. So fear. I mean,
Oh
we got
yeah.
a little bit of
And then
strategy.
we didn't even get into like the other kind of fear. Scary stories, and because it is Halloween, that's why we chose this topic, right?
I
It's like
know.
scary shit. But
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
we
lot of
cover that
things
all the
to,
time.
yeah, we really do. And I think the big thing is knowing that, that when you do feel fear, and this is the time when it is kind of fun to be fearful, right? It's fun to like have little ghosts and goblins and spiders and all, there's a fun, there's a like taking away some of the levity of that, around this week is kind of fun and exciting. But living in fear, that just spins into like all kinds of stuff, doesn't it? Like when I'm fearful, I get really anxious. Like I can't see the future properly. I start disastrobating. I start not feeling confident in who I am and what I'm doing. And that's just a really hard place to live. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think, but then watching stories and stuff like that, or like watching like Castaway and Adrian Brody, because he's hot as fuck.
Right, that's entertainment. Yeah,
It
I mean
is. It's different.
it's kind of dabbling into the fun kind of
Yes.
flighty fear. Watching horror movies. I used to love watching horror movies, and I just
Mm-hmm.
don't love them. I don't like the way it makes my body feel. It feels different. It's a different
Yeah.
vibe now. But
Yeah.
I love suspense and thrillers and all that good stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
it is kind of fun and exciting, right? And I always
Yeah.
joke about watching people get scared. Videos of people getting scared is funny.
We talked about this last episode. I love it.
It's
I
so
know
funny.
I'm always so mad at the person that scares them because,
Yeah.
it's just so embarrassing the like the way they fall apart.
Oh,
I do have to say that I do think that when like with fear in particular, my brain just totally like I lost it. Sorry, my train of thought just went in my I guess I was too afraid. I don't know. That was so weird. I was so
you're
confident.
like,
And then I was like, what? What am I talking about? I need
what
some
am I?
oxygen. I need an oxygen bar stat. I lost my mind. Holy shit,
Oh my
that was
God.
so bizarre. Oh my
And it's
God.
gone. Yeah, that
It was
happens to me
totally,
all
I
the
was so
time.
confident though, Mayu. I was so, and about fear. Jesus. Hell. Okay. All right. Sorry. I just lost my damn mind. I don't know. My obligata just like
I
burped.
can't stop laughing.
I know. I'm
Oh,
just yes. Well, I love
don't even.
the
It happens.
I'm sorry. Good. I don't even know. I don't even
I've
understand
got the
what I just
giggles now. I'm so sorry. Because I know exactly what it just happened because it happens to me. And it's like, fuck, what's the matter? Is it menopause? Like, what's going on with me? Why? And like, you start off going, I have a great point. I can't
Oh
wait to
yeah.
share this. And then you
Damn.
get it all lined up and ready to go. And then it just disappears. And you're like,
Oh yeah,
what
no, and it
the
was
hell?
like gone. It was gone. It was like, I mean, usually I could try to pull it back, I got a little bit of something, but I'm like, oh man, I need an oxygen bar.
I need an
Stat.
oxygen bar, please. We
Stat.
should probably invest in one of those. We should have those at all of our gatherings coming up.
Oh my
Oxygen
God,
bar.
can you
They're so cool.
imagine? Yes.
Oh, I would
So I
love
guess,
it.
as
All right.
we kind of wrap up our little fear episode,
Yeah, that
um,
had nothing to do with ghosts and goblins
yes.
and
Oh, I
scary shit.
remembered. I just
Go,
remembered.
go,
Okay, I'm gonna
go.
go. Okay, ready? So
Yes.
and you and I see a lot of scary shit. I mean, generally,
Yeah.
especially in our house clearings. we come across stuff that, you know, is not
Yes.
normal. It's
Normal.
paranormal, right?
Yes.
That's the paranormal episode. You got to check that one out if you haven't listened to that one. But it's really fascinating because I had just read an article on CNN News, you know, the news feed, and it was about this woman who had lived in an actual haunted house. And she
Oh.
recants this story. She's an immigrant from Persia, somewhere in Persia. I can't remember exactly where. Um, and she was saying, like, you know, the doors would all open, like cutlery would be out on the table. Like, I mean, shit was moving around. It's like really cool though, because it's like, I feel like people are talking about this stuff more and more. Like it's not such a
Yeah.
taboo, or, you know, people, you're not like really, you know, categorized as being crazy anymore, you know, like that stigma when,
Wow. Right.
you know,
She
there's
wasn't scared. She must have been scared.
yeah, her whole life.
At first?
She said, in the beginning, there was a lot of fear around it. And what I loved about the article was kind of like what we're talking about now. It's, you know, once she kind of got her mind around it and kind of started thinking of this woman in this house, this past ghost or whatever,
Yeah.
as a like a grandmother. She kind of said, I just kept looking at her like she was helpful and that she was actually nice, you know, and then she kind of flipped the script, right? She kind of
Mhm.
flipped it and said, well, maybe I don't need to be fearful of her. I just need to acknowledge her, you know, which is, I think, a
Right.
great strategy with fear in general is just acknowledging it and then making the decision. What do I want to do about it? So it's just a really cool article about her kind of really coming to terms with like, this is my normal. And I just thought
Yeah.
that was so
Yeah.
amazing because you and I can relate seeing some
Yeah.
really freaky shit, you know, when we do our
Right.
house clearings, you know? So
Right. God, but cutlery, how, like, I don't know, you walk in and there's knives. I just, that is a little scary. I don't know if I like that.
I know, you know, and it was,
But,
but it,
yeah.
yeah, the energy around it in the beginning was quite fearful. And then I think as
Doors
time went on,
opening.
yeah, she realized
Mm.
that, okay, this isn't like a maniacal or
Malicious. Yeah, right.
malicious, malevolent. What other M word can I use here?
Yeah, right.
You know, it was really something that she could gain her power and overcome. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot of scary shit out there, but we can
Yeah,
do it.
there
And
is. But we
I'm
can
just
do it. And we
watching.
don't want to sit in that fear. We don't want to,
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's different when we invite it by watching a television show and we kind of want to, ooh, get a little scared and, or feel that
Mhm.
thrilling excitement behind it. I get that. But, you know, we don't want to sit in fear in our lives
No.
because it's a negative, low vibration frequency.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, dark energy lies. That's where bad shit happens.
Yeah.
We're trying to manifest things. We can't manifest from that frequency. So
No.
we have
Yeah.
to try and, yeah. So fear
And
is, you know, if it's on purpose, if you want to invite fear in for some fun, then yes, have
yeah.
fun this week with Halloween and all that good stuff.
Yes.
Don't stay there. Don't stay there.
Yeah. In the famous words of I just watched Dune. So if anybody hasn't seen it, obviously, I don't know if anybody out there knows that I'm a huge sci-fi fan.
Me too.
But
I love it.
I love Dune. And one of the main, you know, one of the verbiages when shit's going bad is fear is the mind killer. And so it's kind of a mantra that they're, you know, they use that says fear is the mind killer, fear is the mind. And that's how, you know, she and he would overcome fear. And so I just wanted to throw that out there at the end here, just to
Believe
say,
it with that. I like that. Yeah.
love it.
The
Fear is
mind
the mind
killer.
killer. Yeah. Don't kill your
Awesome.
mind. Get some oxygen at the oxygen bar.
Yeah. That's right. Everyone get some oxygen. Breathe, 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 breathe. I love it. Awesome. Well, this
Yeah.
was fun. Good job. Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you're doing something fun for
Yes.
yourself or for your kiddos or your friends.
Yes.
Have a cocktail on me and Manj. Yeah.
Yes,
Until next week, my
yes.
friend.
I love you. Happy Halloween and
Happy Halloween.
I love you. Namaste.